Alright guys, Epic fucking Slayers here. Today Massive released their full 1.6.1 patch notes, and I'm going to summarise the main sort of changes that will be coming in the 1.6.1 update, which is coming out in roughly May time. Now there is one change or addition to the game which I never saw come in, and for a console player who's using a Deadeye build, this is a massive buff. Before we start, I just want to reiterate that this is a brief overview, and if you do want to see the full patch notes, then please check out the link in the description below. If you do enjoy this one, then drop a like, it will be greatly appreciated, and let's get into this. So let's kick this off with the biggest new feature coming out in 1.6.1, and that is the loadouts, which is awesome to hear because I did initially assume this would be coming out in 1.7, and I think it was, but they have moved it forward to May time. Now, loadouts offer players the chance to save their equipped weapons, gears, skills, and talents to loadout slots, allowing for quick swapping of builds to be used for different activities. Players will be able to create and save up to 6 loadouts per character, and each loadout can be directly equipped when out of combat. Now, I believe in Dark Zone, you'll have to be in a safe house to do this, or in a checkpoint, for example. I believe in PvE, again, you'll have to be out of combat to change these loadouts. But it's a really great addition to the game, and I'm glad they've actually implemented it a lot sooner than what they initially said it would be. Moving on, and there are some changes to the items in the game. The level 34 extended magazines will now roll between 109 and 121% extra magazine size instead of the 109 to 111, and this change is not retroactive, so it will only apply to new magazines. Now, existing old level 33 magazines that had a magazine size bonus above the 108% will be reduced to the 108%. The Nimble talent has been nerfed, and now Nimble will apply a healing over time in 4 ticks over 4 seconds as long as the player stays in the destination cover. Leaving cover will interrupt this effect, and the total amount of heal is unchanged. So I'm not particularly happy about this change. As we know with medikits, the heal over time isn't a good change. For me, if it did need to be nerfed, which I don't think it did, then all they had to do was reduce the amount of heal you got. But that's just my 2 cents, and that's the changes to items mainly. Following that, we move on to talents, and mainly it's just bugs that are being fixed. One of those being shrapnel, and I felt I needed to mention this one because shrapnel is basically the chance of affecting all players with the bleed status effect in, I believe it's a 10-meter range, and I think the chance is 30%. Now, currently it doesn't work, so for Predator's Mark it's kind of underpowered, and this bug fix will actually kind of buff Predator's Mark, to be honest, and I will be doing a video on Predator's Mark. It's actually a very good set, so anyone who's dismissing it, you're wrong, especially on console. So I will be doing a video on that recently, but for me, that fix is really good, and I'm glad they're adding that. And again, that bug is also a bug on Fear Tactics as well as Wildfire, those being the shock effect and the fire effects, so those will also be fixed as well. Moving on, and there has been some changes to the weapons in the game, specifically burst fire weapons, which will now have a maximum RPM, making it impossible to reach non-burst rate of fire with specific control modifications, and this includes the burst fire MP5, FAL, and 93R pistol. Now, this specifically applies mainly to the PC, where you can use a scroll wheel, and the burst fire weapons effectively come fully automatic, but you're getting that increased damage from the burst fire, so they were kind of overpowered in that respect. Now, base flinch has been significantly reduced on all weapons as well. This change affects both PvP and PvE, and that also applies to NPCs. Their weapons will cause less flinch to you. Following that, we have the anticipated Everseeker Minor nerf, where 20% of the initial explosion damage has been moved to the fire effect damage over time instead. The total amount of damage is unchanged if the fire effect is not cleansed. The stagger effect has been completely removed from this mod, so basically means in PvP it won't be quite as good, but in PvE it will just be as good as normal. Following that, we have a lot of improvements and bug fixes for Last Stand, but we also have a new feature which are proficiency marks. Now, proficiency marks are awarded to the player who scores the highest any particular gameplay role. Each team gets their own list of proficiency marks. Multiple proficiency marks can be given to the same player, and proficiency marks are updated in real time throughout the match on the scoreboard. Earning one or more proficiency mark will boost a player's personal score at the end of the Last Stand game mode. Now, I'm really happy with this addition. I think it's very cool that they are rewarding players for getting these particular gameplay roles or reaching these goals, and I think it's good that these players get rewarded a lot more than other players who don't perhaps reach those roles. Last but not fucking least is a massive Deadeye buff on console, where a new setting has been added to allow players to adjust their aim sensitivity while looking through a scope. And now I never expected this to be added in this patch, but you are able to change your aim sensitivity while scoping in on PC. That's been there since day one, but on console, that is not there, which makes scoping in a little bit more difficult, for example, than on PC. So this is a massive change, and I never expected this. For me, this is the most surprising change to the UI in the game, and I can tell you what, fucking Deadeye will be used so much now in Last Stand on console, it's unreal. So there you are, guys. That's the quick recap of the changes coming in 1.6.1. If you do want to check out all of the changes, then I would recommend checking out the link in the description below. For me, the biggest change is certainly the new setting to adjust your sensitivity whilst looking through a scope as I play on console. But in general, you know, loadouts is a great change. There's some great new changes to Last Stand, and we do need those features, but I'm really glad they've actually looked into all the bugs in the game because there was so many. Will there be more? Absolutely, but they've did a very good job from what it looks like in sorting out all these bugs. So for me, the player experience should be a lot better. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.